Hey guys, this is Emily. Welcome to EHERB Live channel. Today I want to invite you to cook with me tilapia and plantains with guacamole. For this you will need some tilapia fillets, a couple of plantains, a lemon, onion, and some cilantro and tomatoes. So first thing that you need to do is to peel the plantains. Plantains are kind of like bananas, but green plantains are a little difficult to peel because the skin is really hard. But so you will peel them like I'm showing in the video. You will slice them up in a couple of pieces and then using a smaller knife take off the skin. And will be left with the inside that later you will slice up like you would a banana and fry it up. It's a very easy dish and has not that many calories and a lot of flavor. So what you need to do is to first off learn to peel the plantains. There are two different kinds of plantains usually in the store: the yellow ones that are more ripe and the green ones that are still green and not ripe, obviously. And so I prefer the green ones because you can always buy them and then like have them at home and they will turn yellow over time. If you don't use them fast enough. I usually use them when they're green. I make chips out of them. I make stews. Some people eat them raw. I don't really like the taste of it, but if they're a little fried like I'm showing in the video, it's amazing. But today I'm going to be making like a stew kind of thing. So I will need the fried plantains, but after you fry them you can eat them as they are, but I'm gonna be using them for more stuff. So add a little oil to a warm pan and then fry up the plantains on both sides so they become brown. Be careful to not overcook them because like they turn really brown and like burn really fast. So like it needs to be brown but not burned. You can keep adding the plantains. Like usually people suggest to keep them apart. I fit as many as I can on a pan usually. Be careful to not burn yourself because the oil is really hot. Just be sure to like fit as many as you can, I guess. You can take more time and keep like just do more batches of it instead of like right away put all of them on the pan, but I sometimes squeeze more than I'm showing in the video, but just like a layer, but it takes a longer time to cook obviously. So yes, you need to turn them over once they're a little golden. You can get them a little more brown, it's up to you. Like I prefer like just to like kind of sear them a little and then that should be enough usually, but it's up to you how you like them. Honestly, you can make to this dish you can add them raw. I just prefer a little bit to cook them so they're a little more like they don't become mushy right away like once you put them in this dish, because like plantains are like potatoes. Like if you make the potatoes, if you sear the potatoes before you cook them, like they will keep their shape longer. So that's what I'm doing the searing for. And after you fry them up on both sides, that's enough. This is a great dish if you have like tomatoes that are going bad, or the onion. As you can see in the video, like my onion wasn't that great, but I still made use of it. I cut off the bad part, but I'm using the good part of it. You need to slice it up in small pieces, into thin slices, and then just to later on add it to the dish. So keep turning your plantain. I wanted to say bananas, but it's plantain. Keep turning them over. See, they're browning beautifully, and that's what you're looking for. And then just take it off the heat and put it on a separate plate, which I already prepared. My little one just likes the plantains like this, fried and then like with a sprinkle of salt. So that's what I was giving her, because she's not a fan of fish for some reason. So you take them off. It's okay if they cool down, they will come together later in a dish all together. So make sure when you put the next batch of plantains to add a little more oil to it. Like not too crazy amount, like up to you, but I prefer to keep a little oil on the pan because, hey, you never know if they will get stuck to the pan. So keep adding the plantains and frying them on both sides. This dish, after it all comes together, actually brings out the sweetness in the onion, and it's almost sweet. It's like sweet and salty at the same time, and the taste of fish is just amazing. Like you will see in the video, it's just gonna be really, really good. And it's also a great dish to put together if you have like some leftover tomatoes, if you have some leftover greens. Honestly, if you have some like, I don't know, collard greens or spinach, you can always add it to this dish. Like this dish loves greens. I just didn't have any at this point, and I mean, this is something we cook at least once a week because both my husband and I love tilapia, so I try to make it every now and then. And plantain is an interesting it's an interesting way to make an everyday dish, not as everyday as it is. So make sure they're not burning, make sure that everything's okay in those plantains. And you can start dicing your tomatoes, because you'll need diced tomatoes. You can use the canned tomatoes, you can use tomato sauce. If you're not a fan of tomato-based sauces, you can just use lemon juice and some chicken stock or anything. I don't mind tomato sauces, so I'm mostly making like tomato-based stuff, but anything will work in this dish. I'm just showing that you can combine tilapia and the plantain together in a sort of a stew. So yeah, after you're done frying the plantain, add some more oil, or not too much oil, but a little bit of oil if you want to. If you don't have to the pan, and add your onions that you sliced up. Now dice your tomatoes, or open a can of your diced tomatoes with the juice, and you will add them with the juice and everything to the dish. So make sure the onions caramelize a little bit before you add the tomatoes to them. Like they need to be like a little bit gold nice, so like they will like the sweetness in the onions will come out. So yeah, wait for them to get a little brown, and then you will add the tomatoes to them, and those tomatoes and onions will come together for like a minute or two, just to warm up the tomatoes. And then you will add all the plantain to them, because, well, not all of them. I kept some to dip into guacamole that I'm making later, but you can put all of them or not all of them, it's up to you. I like plantain, so I made a lot of it. So then you chop up the cilantro, which you will use later to garnish the dish. Make sure that the like plantains, onions, and tomatoes will cook for a little bit together so they become like tender and nice, like kind of a stew base thing. So I prepared everything for making a guacamole. I had I had 2 avocados, 3 medium tomatoes, 1 lemon. I usually put limes to my guacamole, but I had only lemons. So I had a lemon, I had a jalapeno pepper, and some cilantro. That's usually what goes into my guacamole, and the shallot. I don't remember if I said shallot or not. But yeah, so don't forget about the dish you're making. Add half a lemon to it to add a little bit of liquid at the bottom of the pan so it becomes more stewy. And my lemon was huge, so I cut it into 8 to be able to squeeze out the juice, because the half was not fitting into my lemon press. So squeeze out as much juice as you can. If the dish becomes too dry, you can add a little bit of water to it, because you don't want it to burn. You want that saucy liquid stuff in there. Add some salt to your fish, because finally it's time to put fish to it, because it's basically your fish will be very, very steamed, which is very healthy. It's not gonna be oily dish. It will be like perfect. You can serve it with rice. I decided to serve it with guacamole and chips, and obviously some plantain on the side. Then squeeze out the other half of the lemon, the other 4/8 of the lemon on top of the fish to cover it with some yummy lemon juice. Take out any lemon pits that get on it, because you don't want to add that to your dish. And then back to your guacamole. Dice up your jalapeno into really small pieces. My husband prefers it more spicy, so I add the whole jalapeno with the seeds in it. You can obviously remove the seeds. I don't mind it being a little spicy. Like, it's not too crazy spicy. This like 1 jalapeno is not too crazy spicy. So yeah, dice up the jalapeno. Start by peeling the shallot, and my shallot was out of 2 parts, so you need to peel both of them, and then you need to dice it up into tiny little pieces, because the smaller the pieces, obviously there is a crunch from the shallot, but also a lot of great taste. But the smaller the pieces, the more creamier the sauce is, and the guacamole. And like, I mean, usually people don't like to have like big chunks of shallots in it, or like onions inside the guacamole. So dice up your tomatoes. I actually didn't use both parts of the shallot. I saved the other half for later. I just wanted a little bit of shallot in it. So keep dicing your tomatoes. Any sizes you want. I try to keep them like as small as I can. Yeah, then chop up your cilantro as small as you can, and then cut up your avocados. Cut them in half, and then get the seed out. Slice them in their skin so they are nicely diced inside, so it's easier to mix it up later when you add them to the bowl that you're going to be mixing it in. So be careful not to cut yourself. Apparently a lot of people are getting avocado injuries, which I think is funny, because I mean, you can get an injury from everything, but I guess people are attempting to cook avocados more than everything else, and that's why they're getting cuts. I don't know, but be careful, you don't want to hurt yourself. Add the avocados into the dish, and then it's time to add the lemon juice, the salt to avocado, and black pepper if you want. You can add even like hot sauce to it. I don't like hot sauce to it because it already has the jalapenos. Just make sure that you don't, once you start mixing it all together, that it doesn't come out of the dish. So keep mixing it. And don't forget about your fish. Keep an eye on your fish all the time because you don't want to overcook it. Like, it has to be steamed perfectly so it's flaky, but you don't want it to be overcooked and become rubbery. So, my lemon juice is spilling all over the place, but nobody cares because it's delicious. So yeah, add the lemon juice to your guacamole. Keep mixing it. Some salt, pepper, as much as you want. I guess you can add some other spices to it. I don't know, like, I'm not a fan of anything other than cilantro and pepper in my guacamole, but do your thing, you know. Everyone can do whatever they want. So I like my guacamole to be a little chunky yet creamy, so that's what I'm going for with the texture of it. You don't need to have a special dish for guacamole. That's just something I bought many years ago, and we're using it because we make guacamole quite often. A regular bowl will work just fine. And then add some cilantro to your fish because you want it to be yummy. And thanks for watching, guys. This was my take on tilapia and guacamole. Please subscribe. Thank you again for watching. Have a wonderful day.